on FYI, the hottest month ever for planet Earth. Is this the start of global boiling?
And we meet the talented young artists taking on the celebrities.
Hello, this is FYI, your weekly news show with all the top stories.
Over the past few weeks, we've reported about heat waves across the world, with wildfires even affecting our summer holidays to islands in the Mediterranean.
So it's probably no surprise to find that figures just out show that July was the hottest month ever recorded on planet Earth.
The average surface air temperature across the planet was around 1.5 degrees Celsius warmer than in what are called pre-industrial times.
That's around the 1800s, before humans started using lots of fossil fuels, like coal and oil, for factories, machines and transport, pumping greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and causing global warming.
1.5 degrees doesn't sound a lot, but it's an average and actually means there can be big changes in the weather, which is why there were such intense heat waves and forest fires.
Among other records broken in July, the US city of Phoenix in Arizona reported 31 days in a row where the daytime temperature hit at least 43 degrees. And on the 16th of July, the Chinese city of Turpan set a new national temperature record of 52.2 degrees.
The United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, said that there's now no doubt humans are to blame.
The era of global warming has ended, the era of global boiling has arrived. The air is unbreathable, the heat is unbearable, and the level of fossil fuel profits and climate inaction is unacceptable.
Just when many campaigners were hoping for even greater action to stop the use of fossil fuels, the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has announced that the government will allow lots more drilling for oil and gas in the North Sea off the coast of Britain. He says it's needed to make sure we're not short of vital energy.
It's really important for everyone to recognise that even in 2050, when we are at net zero, it is forecast that around a quarter of our energy needs will still come from oil and gas. What is important then is that we get that oil and gas in the best possible way, because if we're going to need it, far better to have it here at home rather than shipping it here from halfway around the world with 2, 3, 4 times the amount of carbon emissions.
Many disagree with the plans. The opposition Labour Party said they would not allow any new drilling sites. Some protesters climbed on top of Rishi Sunak's house in North Yorkshire and covered it in black sheets.
The Prime Minister also announced support for 2 new carbon capture schemes to be active by around 2030.
Carbon capture is the idea that we take some of the extra carbon we're producing out of the air. Trees are brilliant at it, but it's hard to plant enough to make up for destroying rainforests.
So scientists are developing other ways of absorbing carbon and then getting rid of it. For instance, by pumping it back under the sea, where the oil has come from.
Campaigners point out that carbon capture on a big scale is still some way away and say it shouldn't be relied on in place of reducing fossil fuel use.
So as California was at the height of its heat wave, it seems even bears decided they needed to cool off. Alarmed locals called the police, but luckily after a short dip, the bear climbed over a wall and headed up a tree.
Now, as many of us know, lots of youth clubs and leisure facilities have closed down in recent years. But in Liverpool, a new youth centre, Alt Valley Communiversity, has just been opened by the government's Culture Secretary, Lucy Fraser.
Youth clubs are not only a great place to meet people and get involved in sport, they're seen by many as a vital part of making sure young people don't get involved in negative behaviour and even crime.
Alt Valley is part of the government's National Youth Guarantee. They announced last year that by 2025, every young person in England will have access to regular clubs and activities. Lucy Fraser joins us now. Hi Lucy, thank you so much for joining us.
Nice to see you.
So Alt Valley is just one of lots of new youth facilities you're planning, isn't it?
That's absolutely right. So that's one, it's the first one actually that has been opened with some government money, but we're planning these across the country. In fact, we've already given some money or agreed for 87 to open across the country, but there's going to be plenty more on top of that as well.
So we all know how vital youth clubs are. But in my lifetime from 2010, about 750 youth clubs were closed in England and Wales, with money cut by 2/3. Why did the government let this happen?
When those in 2010, we had to make some very difficult decisions because of the situation that we found the government in relation to the money that the government had. But what we're doing now is to make sure that we spread those opportunities across the country. So the government has put forward £500 million to support youth activities across the country.
So you've promised every young person in England will have access to a local youth club by 2025. I mean, that's only 2 years away. How are you going to do that?
Well, what we've promised is everybody has access to something that they want to do. And that could be going to a youth club. So some people might want to do that, but other people might want to do something completely different, like the Scouts or the Guides or the Duke of Edinburgh or the Adventure Holidays. So what we want to ensure is that every young person gets the opportunity to explore something new, to build their potential, and so that they have more opportunities for the future.
Thank you so much for joining us, Lucy.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you both.
We've seen so many unbelievable stories online recently that we thought we'd check them out to see if you think these stories are fake or fact. To kick off, I saw an unusual report from America about Taylor Swift's concert in Seattle. It said Swifties were jumping up and down and dancing so much that it registered as a small earthquake. Could that possibly be true?
That's a tricky one. How about this? These worms are ancient. And I saw a report claiming they've been brought back to life by scientists after being frozen for nearly 50,000 years. Could that be true?
Surely not. And what about this amazing video caught by a tourist? It apparently shows 3 humpback whales jumping out of the water at the same time, like synchronized swimmers. Incredible. But is this for real?
And finally, this video has gone viral. It's meant to be a sun bear in a Chinese zoo, but many comments say it's just a zookeeper in a bear suit. So what do you think? Which stories are fake and which stories are fact? Find out later.
Now to a report suggested by 2 FYI News Club members, 12-year-old twins Layla and Isaac.
They went to see a performance of a Shakespeare play, The Tempest, at the famous Globe Theatre in London. They were surprised to see that one of the parts was played by an actor of South Asian heritage like them.
They arranged to interview him as part of South Asian Heritage Month, and we sent some of our FYI cameras along.
We're here at the historic Shakespeare's Globe. Shakespeare's theatre is so famous because it's where Shakespeare's plays were first performed hundreds of years ago.
It was built in 1599 but burnt down in 1613. A new one was rebuilt, but sadly that one would permanently close down in 1644. The version we see now was built only 25 years ago.
It was designed to be true to the old version. The Globe has no roof, so you can watch plays under the open sky.
The Tempest is a famous play written by William Shakespeare over 400 years ago. One of the characters in this play is Ferdinand.
Traditionally, the role of Ferdinand has been played by white actors, but theatres are now embracing diversity. Azan Ahmed, who now plays Ferdinand, is helping to create a more inclusive stage.
How did it feel to be part of such a diverse company?
It just feels like home. I'm from London, everyone's from everywhere, and it should feel like that at the Globe, and I was very lucky that it did in our production. Because Shakespeare's for everyone. It's always best when it's different. I mean, you guys study Shakespeare, I study Shakespeare, my granddad studies Shakespeare. We need it to feel fresh, and that's what allowing everyone of any background to come and perform does. When I played Ferdinand, I looked at not only princes from this country, but princes from Pakistan, from India, from that region of the world, and how that influenced my character.
What advice would you give to kids, especially those from minority ethnic backgrounds, that want to pursue a career in acting?
Trust your gut, and even if you don't see anyone like you, believe that artistry is in your ancestry and it runs through you. Practical advice I would give is get on a stage as soon as possible and fail proudly.
in an amazing summer of sport, with England doing well so far at the Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. They've topped their group, winning all 3 of their matches, and now play Nigeria in the last 16.
A Moroccan defender, Nuwela Benzina, has been making the headlines for different reasons. She's the first footballer to wear hijab at a senior international tournament. The headscarves were banned till 2014.
And in cricket, it was a fairy tale ending for the great England bowler Stuart Broad after he announced his retirement. In his last ever match, the final test in this year's series against Australia, he scored a 6 with the last ever ball he faced and then took a vital wicket with the last ever ball he bowled to win the game for England. It all helped England draw a fantastic series 2-2.
Every week, we seem to have an OMG about a sea creature off the coast of California. First, it was the friendly seal hitching a ride on a surfboard. Then it was the rather less friendly sea otter terrorising surfers. And now, it's very aggressive sea lions. They're well known for hanging out on this beach in San Diego. The sea mammals are normally pretty chilled, but it looks like some tourists forgot they're still wild animals and got a bit too close.
How's your drawing, Jiraiya?
I'm pretty useless. I mean, I can't do much. What about you?
Well, I love art. I love drawing and painting, but I'm actually not very good at it. But we're actually joined now by a very talented young artist. Isla won through from lots of children to be in a very special Celebrity versus Kids episode of the TV series Portrait Artist of the Year.
Isla, I saw your portrait. It's fantastic. Like the guy with the high-vis jacket.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I think I would be terrified to paint something in neon yellow.
Yeah, it's like a special neon green, yellowy kind of colour.
Hi, Isla. Thank you so much for joining us today. So that clip looked amazing.
Yeah.
It really did. So did you enjoy that experience?
Yeah, it was really fun. I liked being in the set and seeing all the other children and all their drawings and paintings.
Yeah, it must have been amazing to be around so many other people who love art just as much as you do. So you were selected to be on the show because of this portrait right here. So you had to paint someone who's important to you at school. So why did you choose to paint this man in the high vis?
I really liked the bright colours of his jacket and the blue and the silver.
So who did you draw on the show? Is that the portrait there?
Yeah, this is Lee Ridley, the Lost Voice guy, and he was sitting in front of me and the other child and the 2 adults.
I can imagine it took quite a while. How long did they both take to draw?
The first one took like 6 hours,
Wow.
but like 2 hours at a time, so like 2 hours a day and stuff. And
you
then
need a break in between. You get a bit tired.
And then this one, we only had 2 hours on it, so this one only took 2 hours, so I didn't have time to do like the background and stuff.
Why do you love art so much?
Well, I've always liked art from when I was little, but like I only started properly doing it in art lessons. And I do it at home sometimes, like in my bedroom stuff when I just want to be like by myself or something, or just like any time, because it like just makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's a good way to relax.
Yeah.
So what would your advice be to someone who might want to pick up a paintbrush this summer holidays?
You should try lots of different like techniques and lots of different styles, because not all things will suit you in the way you like to draw. And in the end, you will find something that you're good at and that you like.
So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, time to reveal which stories we featured earlier were fake and which were fact. And you might be surprised that the story about Taylor Swift's audience causing a small earthquake with their dancing is fact. Scientists reported the activity registered as a 2.3 magnitude quake. Pretty small, but definitely noticeable on their monitoring equipment. Taylor Swift rocks. Get it? Rocks, earthquake?
Yeah, we got it, Jiraiya. And the story that these ancient worms were brought back to life after 46,000 years is also fact. They'd been deep underground in solid ice in a state of suspended animation. Scientists were amazed they had survived.
And what about the 3 whales breaching together? Well, this looks like the kind of thing you'd fake in a video editing program, but it's actually fact. It's the first time this amazing behaviour has ever been recorded.
And finally, what about the viral video of the sun bear standing on its hind legs that also looks fake? Well, you guessed it, it's actually fact again. The zoo in China says it's a real sun bear. Their baggy skin around their bottom just makes them look like a human in a costume. All just shows you can't be too careful.
And that's just about it for this week.
But just to mention, if your school was disrupted by teacher strikes last term, the good news is they've come to an agreement, so no more strikes next term, and that's a fact.
We'll see you next time. Bye!